Question time on Tuesday was pretty much a replay of question time on Monday. Every single opposition question was directed to the Prime Minister, Tony Abbott. Every single question was budget related, and every single question implied either that the budget is unfair or that the Prime Minister has broken election promises.
Before the election, the Prime Minister promised no cuts to health, no cuts to education and no change to the pension. But after the election, the Prime Minister has cut $80 billion from schools and hospitals and cut pension indexation.
There'll be silence.
How can the Prime Minister possibly claim that this is the budget that the Australian people elected his government to bring down?
This government was elected to deal with the debt and deficit disaster that members opposite created. That's the first point I make. Second point I make is that when it comes to public hospitals, funding goes up 9% this year, 9% next year, 9% the year after that, and 6% in the fourth year. In respect of public hospitals, in respect of public schools, funding goes up 8% this year, 8% next year, 8% the year after that, and 6% in the fourth year. Every single year, spending on health and education goes up. That's why the question from the Leader of the Opposition is just a farrago of falsehoods.
Australians in rural and regional areas will pay your new petrol and GP taxes while having their pensions and family tax benefits cut, while at the same time you roll out your unaffordable paid parental leave scheme. Prime Minister, please tell the House how this is fair.
More falsehoods from members opposite. There are no cuts to pensions. Pensions go up every single 6 months. Pensions increase.
Today in the Senate, the Finance Minister has admitted that the government is reducing government payments, including payments to pensioners. Now that the Prime Minister claims he will his increased pensions have been exposed as wrong by his own Finance Minister, who said the government is reducing payments to pensioners. Will the Prime Minister explain why he believes these confirmed cuts are fair?
Let me repeat, there are no cuts to pensions. None. There are no cuts to pension. Every March, every year, pensions go up. Every September, every year, pensions go up. It's true, Madam Speaker, that in 2017 the indexation rate changes. It's true that the indexation rate changes after the next election. And Madam Speaker,
there will be silence on my left.
It just went up.
The Prime Minister has the call.
And Madam Speaker, what we are doing is applying to pensions the same indexation rate that the Labor Party applied to the family tax benefit, Madam Speaker. And if the indexation rate is fair, applying to the family tax benefit, it's also fair applying to the pensions.
Since the budget, I've heard from many job seekers under 30 worried about how they'll survive when your government takes away their income for months at a time. Prime Minister, when your budget takes away all their income, what should young job seekers do first? Stop paying for rent or stop buying food? Or is your view simply let them eat cake?
I want the young people of Australia to get the best possible start in life. And I have to say, Madam Speaker, that
the member for Wakefield.
Madam Speaker, no one should start their adult life on social security, Madam Speaker.
A short time ago, the New South Wales Liberal Treasurer said about the Prime Minister's $80 billion of cuts to schools and hospitals, there is no point pretending that the broken agreements of the federal budget won't hurt the people of New South Wales. How is it fair to make the people of New South Wales pay for this Prime Minister's broken promises?
Well, Madam Speaker, there are no broken promises. There are no broken promises. We made it absolutely crystal clear pre-election. We made it absolutely crystal clear pre-election that we were not committed to Labor's unsustainable pie-in-the-sky promises for the out years. We made it absolutely crystal clear that we were not committed.
Families in rural and regional electorates will be hard hit by the Prime Minister's cuts to Family Tax Benefit Part B. Does the Prime Minister think it's fair that families in the bush will have their family payments cut while wealthy Australians in the city get paid $50,000 to have a baby?
What this government wants to do is establish fairness. And it's not fair, that the member who just asked this question, staff, get access to paid parental leave at their wage, and people working as shop assistants in milk bars and the small businesses of country Australia don't.
13 of the 15 National Party electorates have higher numbers of families receiving Family Tax Benefit B than the national average. Every single one of these families will have their family payments cut while the Prime Minister rolls out his unaffordable paid parental leave scheme. How is this fair for regional Australia?
The great thing about our paid parental leave scheme is that it extends the fundamental principle that people should be paid parental leave at their wage from the public service here in Canberra to the country areas of Australia. That's what it does. It establishes the same rule for the whole country.
As page 7 of the Prime Minister's budget outlook shows, the Prime Minister has cut $80 billion from schools and hospitals. How is this fair?
The figure that the member for Ballarat cites was in no Labor budget. It was in no Labor budget. Unsustainable, undeliverable,
There will be silence on my left.
That were only made by the former government because they knew they would never be called upon to deliver them.
The Australian Industry Group has said that the Prime Minister's paid parental leave scheme should be, and I quote, abandoned. Given the Prime Minister's own colleagues and the business community don't support his paid parental leave scheme, when will the Prime Minister finally abandon his unfair and unaffordable paid parental leave scheme?
It is fair and is affordable. It's fair because it delivers paid parental leave to the whole of Australia, not just to the public service, the public servants that work for members opposite, and it's affordable because it's paid for by a modest levy on the 3,000 most profitable and largest companies in our country.
I refer to the Treasurer's commitment today to come up with regional modelling on the Prime Minister's new fuel tax. Why has it taken till today for the government to bother considering how much the Prime Minister's new petrol tax will cost regional Australia?
First of all, fuel excise indexation was first introduced by the Labor Party. Second point I make, Madam Speaker, is that every single cent that is raised by fuel excise indexation will be hypothecated to roads.
I just asked the Prime Minister one question. Why has he not bothered to model the hurt of his fuel tax till today?
This is a budget which delivers in spades for country Australia.
Prime Minister, your government has cut over $500 million from Indigenous programs in the budget. Prime Minister, how is this fair?
We're reorganising more than 100 separate programs into 5. That's why we believe that we can make modest savings in this area and still deliver more, to the Indigenous people of our country.
Yesterday, during question time, the Prime Minister said this is the budget that the Australian people elected us to bring down. When did the Prime Minister tell the Australian people before the last election that he would cut $80 billion from schools and hospitals, cut pensions, hit families with a GP tax, hit Australians every time they fill up their car with petrol?
We said we would fix the mess, and wasn't there a mess? Wasn't there a mess? Debt and deficit disaster stretching out as far as the eye can see.
I'm just asking the Prime Minister when. What day, what time, when did he actually tell Australians about his rotten...
We promised that we'd stop the boats, and the boats are stopping. We promised that we'd scrap the carbon tax, and Senate permitting, that will happen within a month.
There'll be silence on my left.
We promised that we'd build the road to the 21st century, and that's already happening. And, Madam Speaker, we said we would get the budget back under control.
Madam Speaker, I'm not sure whether I heard correctly, but I believe the Health Minister said take your medication as an interjection. That's highly inappropriate.
If it helps you, I withdraw, Madam Speaker.
The Leader of the Opposition was a serial misleader of the Australian people. He was serially incapable of telling the truth. He didn't tell the truth to Julia Gillard. He didn't tell the truth to Kevin Rudd. He doesn't tell the truth to anyone. We said we would fix up the budget mess, and that is exactly what this government is doing.